right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with two incredible leaders that I will say I've been tracking and following and stalking for the last 4+ years. Both of them are in extremes of leadership qualities, in extremes of give back qualities, but also have so much in common in between. It's incredible. Both of them, as I introduce them, you'll start to figure out which one is which, have uh, leadership and development skills that still aspire to have from both. I'm going to let you decide as I introduce Edmund and Dr. Victor to the table who's who. So, on one side of the fence, everybody knows me to be highly caffeinated, fairly obnoxious. I get it, I accept it, I receive it. So, on one side, we have a sensei of smoothness and calm voice and can pull in the community. On the other one, we have the all knowing God of all speaking and God of all presentations, can suck in a story, just dances across the stage like he owns it. I'm going to let you figure out who's who, but uh, the first thing I want to do is thank you both. This is the first time I've had two guests on the live streaming. The elite leadership is to talk about leadership qualities, everything else. Y'all sucked me into this one easily because you're like, hey, we should do. I'm like, yes, right. So talking about what it takes to manage, build, and kind of really almost survive in the cyber community space, especially nonprofit, where you're giving time, right? Everybody has plenty of time, right, folks? Okay. So we have the well, I won't give away who's who, but we have Edmund, who has been leading OWASP for the longest time. He's got decades of experience, both cybersecurity technology, and if for not for Edmund, I'm assuming a lot of our infrastructure or manufacturing would be in the shitter. Okay. Then we've got Dr. Victor Manga. Dr. Victor Manga, I will just tell you, I've got to kick off the first question to you. How the hell do you have 50 certifications?
When you don't have life or friends or not a great hobbies, that's what it
I
gets
knew
to.
it. I freaking knew it. I was like 50 certifications. I'm like, what? Like you including underwater basket weaving in there? Like what the hell?
Yeah, it's a term my friends call me a cert whore. So anytime I see a cert, I'm chasing it. That's it.
I'm glad you said it. I didn't know if you were
I
gonna let me say it.
I accept it. I proudly wear it.
Okay, thank you. Because I at some point, maybe in the comments, we're gonna need that full list because I'm assuming LinkedIn can't even handle adding 50 certs to your profile. That's
I'd like
number
to see
one.
a business card
I,
that would fit on.
Someone
yeah,
actually
that
challenged me once. They said, "Hey, can you spell every cert you have? Like, what it actually means?" And I am ashamed to say that no, I was not able to spell every word of it.
talk about acronym soup. Holy crap! I can't even imagine. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, you've got friends, and you're. I could tell you're an introvert, right? So you're all you're doing is staying at home and reading. But
Yeah.
seriously, all right. Now I've got to go to the first. These, by the way, these are the only two planned questions that I had. Edmund, anybody that's known you for the last couple of months has seen you being impacted literally on your forehead. What the hell happened?
Yeah, so interesting story. I was volunteering at the Layer One conference back on Memorial Day, and on the second day, I was closing the hatch on my SUV, and I think, wasn't too far from the car, so I just slammed the gate on my forehead and just peeled off the skin. That's the story. And then I had to
And,
go
and
back home and end up in urgent care.
well, you look fantastic. I can tell some of the damage that it did, but we can talk about that one later.
Yeah.
But I will. But the reason I brought it up, and the reason well, obviously you know why I brought up, the Victor being a cert whore. But the reason I brought it up is because I knew the backstory of what you were doing, right? And it ties into kind of the conversation, right? We volunteer, we give back, we go to these events, and we're so in this nebulous and we forget, oh, by the way, there's a freaking door that's about to
Yeah,
potentially crush
that's
my
so true.
brain, right? Because we're in the moment, right? And I get, and y'all know, but when I'm out networking, I'm out, trying to help people and make connections. I don't even know what time it is, right? Like we
Yeah.
closed out the Ballast Point, right? I was like, really? You're closing the bar? I'm like, we're having such a great time. I'm like, we closed out the whole place. I'm like, and when you get into that mode, right? When you get into an organization like OWASP or CSA, like, and you can start to find or create that environment, that just becomes, that passion play, right? So now we start to get maybe a little bit serious, right? So Edmund, walk us through the why and the how you first got involved with OWASP, and then we'll table that one right over to Victor, because the how and the why are the two core pieces of, like, you start off as a neophyte, like, oh, what is OWASP? And all of a sudden you're sucked into this
Yeah.
vortex, fast forward, you're leading it. So walk
Yeah.
us through that.
Absolutely. Well, pleasure to have participating in this meeting and alongside with Dr. Manga and and yourself, obviously. I've known you guys for quite a few years, and it's a pleasure being on this call. Um, the story is longer than OWASP. I first joined as a volunteer for a few years with ISSA early in 2003. I had just been more seriously involved in cybersecurity after a huge company, Lucent Technologies, gobbled up my smaller company, and I ended up being the West Coast liaison for their entire West Coast um, sites to go and sightsee and view and manage their OWASP, their their security stuff. So I got curious about ISSA. I went there, and they had this one of the first conferences that they were heading in UCLA. So I got involved and got really interested, and did probably about 20 years in ISSA, managing the conferences that we had up until the COVID. And during the same time, I was invited to join the OWASP board of directors, and we had a lot of conferences at the time. The AppSec Cali was going really hot. We had tons of good speakers from all over the world participating in our events. And so I have been focusing more on OWASP lately because it's more in line with what I do professionally, and also it's more relevant to my aspirations in getting into cybersecurity. So I enjoy doing that right now.
I love it. I love it. And just to be clear, I want to make sure I got the math right. 21 years involved in local cybersecurity.
Correct.
Hot diggity damn.
Yeah, it's. I think
Right,
the community.
Manga. I'm just gonna
The community
say,
really feels that.
research.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Top that, Mr. Manga. I don't even think you own anything that's 21 years old.
That's absolutely right. My story is not that impressive at all. But before I answer why and how I got into nonprofit communities and helping each other, I'm gonna pose a question to all of those who are listening. What are you doing extra or more than what everybody's doing? What I mean by that is everybody's doing their day job, and that's about it. Let's say, what else are you doing to get ahead of it? How are you unique in your own way? How are you setting yourself so that you can be seen by others? So take 10 seconds, think about it, and then I'll answer my why and how. All right. So I'll start with why, and then I'll talk about how. Why? I moved from India to United States, and just like everyone else, yes, I was the one looking for a job. I was king of the hill in India because everybody knew me in my area. Because where I lived, 50% of people owned computer, so others didn't even know what computer is, and 0.1% people actually knew cybersecurity. So I was the only guy who knew security at that time in its own way, in its own shape and form. So I was king of the hill. Everybody knew me. I knew everyone, and I came to the United States, and it just hit me. It hit me that no one knows me. I thought everybody knew me because I'm like the celebrity in India. Here, no one knew me. I had to build that network from scratch, from zero. No family, no friends, none of that. So that's the why I needed a place to network. That's a why. How? When I was asking people that, hey, I'm looking for a job, someone really smart and my mentor at this time, she asked me why people are not looking for you. So you're just saying you're looking for a job. Why people are not looking for you? Why employers are not looking for you? Why jobs are not looking for your skills? You have the skills. Why they're not looking for you? Nobody know you. That's why. You haven't done a thing to build a network here. And that's kind of the same story I hear in communities where people have been doing the jobs, people have been punching the clock, and they're just missing that one thing where why are you unique? What have you done to nourish that career, to nourish that personal branding, to nourish that next step? Yeah, sure, people know you around you at your job. You are a great team player. You're the best manager or leader at your job. What else? I have seen people where they have the best managers, directors, VPs at their job. Company knows them so well, big companies too, but they have no personal branding. Nobody knows them. They don't go to events. They don't go to community events. They don't serve. They don't actually help people. Nobody knows them. So that was the first thing. I needed a place, safe place to go and network and start connecting, start telling people what my skills are. That's how I got into nonprofits. And Edmund knows this, but my first event was OWASP at Riot Games. Anthony Tony was hosting it, and Edmund was there. So that's how I realized that this is a safe space. I can come in, start connecting, start networking, start telling people, hey, my name is Victor. This is what I do. And let me know if I can help you.
Okay.
All right. If he is
So
speechless, you know what? I'm taking that as a win. If Mel took 2 seconds to talk, this is my victory moment. It's going in my notebook right now.
I'll give you that 100%. What I wasn't quite prepared for, which I had usually opened up. I didn't think y'all were going to bring me to this point. Listen, we're all stressed, and I will admit, I'm like trigger happy on getting emotional, right? What I didn't anticipate was to say, yes, the box of tissues are here. You almost broke me, brother. You almost broke me. Um, I can't wait to hear your TED talk or read your book. Uh, but that was if somebody doesn't get off their ass after listening to that, I swear to God, I'm going to backhand them next time I see them at one of the events.
Very
Right?
true.
Like
Very
you,
true.
you've got someone who's put in 21 years, has kind of gone through the whole industry knows him, and then you've got someone who nobody knew who worked the hustle, because he was bored and didn't know anyone. He got 50 certs, but that's a whole nother story, right? That's insane, insane. Like the two of you, I'm just gonna screw that. I'm just gonna let you two riff. I'm just gonna go off because I don't even deserve to be in this panel right now to even be moderating it. Holy shit. Um, I hope anybody who's out there sees this on replay or that is on right now can comment because I don't even know what the hell else to ask you. We've got 45 more minutes to go. God damn.
Yeah, I have come across a lot of people that have attended our meetings, and probably by recommendation from somebody that hey, you should go and see what's going on in this meeting, that they have really found their community and their safe place, like Victor said, and that's really something that I have come to enjoy in both ISSA, Los Angeles, and also in OWASP. It's really a place that you can confide in people. You come to meet and know new people that are uh, to become your resources when you need help and advice, either for a technical challenge at work or a professional challenge like dealing with a manager or a subordinate um, that doesn't really make it work in your environment, that's the safe place that you can ask that question without being judged. And given all the experience that's out there, usually from the people that attend the meetings are usually from the student all the way to the CISOs. So you get a
Yeah.
broad swath of everybody that can really help you
Yeah.
go further in your career.
And one thing I'll add there is a lot of time people ask me, hey, why do I join a community? Why do I go there? Why do I actually continue giving my time? Because time is valuable. I get it. We'll talk about it, the values you get, the long-term values that you get by investing time in communities and going to the events and serving on the leadership. We'll talk about that. But the simple is that most of the professionals have unions. They have their little thing where they go in and they meet like-minded people, doctors, or actors, or producers, directors, flight attendants, pilots. They all have their little unions. They have professionals like-minded who are in the same profession. So they build a network. They know each other. They see each other. Maybe work in the same company or different companies. We don't have that thing. We have communities. That's what our unions are. This is where we come in. We work for different companies or same companies. We're in different areas, but this is where we come in and we network. We feel that there is someone else who's going through the same thing or had gone through the same thing, and we can talk to them. They'll understand. I have tried bar conversations talking about cybersecurity. Didn't get me anywhere. I still, until today, ask my wife, what was my pickup line? Because I don't remember. I have no idea what was my pickup line, honestly. And that's the same thing. It's when you are around your like-minded people, when you're talking to the same sort of professionals, it makes you feel home. It makes you feel that you're in a safe space. It makes you feel you can open up. And you don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
You can go to parties, events, you can go to clubs all day, but that safe space, that comfort, that safety net, you don't get it anywhere else except the communities, except the people who understand you because they have gone through it same time or they just gone through it. So
Yeah. And recently we've had a lot of participation from people that are just, believe it or not, changing careers from
yeah,
completely disconnected fields into cybersecurity, and they're really not sure which way to go. So I think that's talking to people that participate in our meetings gives them a good idea. Okay, I have this mindset, I have this talent, I have this skill set, and I have this aptitude. So what's the best way for me to uh, move into cybersecurity, and what's the best platform for
yes,
me to stay?
I'll share a personal story. We were buying a car. I won't name the brand. We were buying a car salesman. She said, I have a great skill, people skill, but I am sick and tired of this profession. I want to get into IT. And during the conversation, when we were filling out paperwork, I put as like I work in IT. And so she started asking me, what does this industry looks like? I don't know any technical skills. And I said, I see you using computer. I see you're a people person. I see you have influence. You have great communication skills. You are fit for cybersecurity. Go look into ISACA, go understand GRC, and you'll make a career out of it. 5 years later, she thanked me. That's exactly what I needed. From car salesman to a GRC professional.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna I had pinned a conversation or a topic. We're gonna get back onto this, but in this view, it reminded me, Edmund, of the conversation we were having before. I just want Victor to know the amount of work that I had to go through on Monday night to create the promo image, because the scaling on the size of your head versus the size of Edmund's, like the precision work that I had to go through, like I might as well just say I have a certification in like photo editing at this point. Anyway, and in this view, I'm like, oh, that's right. There's a scaling issue here. But anyway, not saying your head is big, Victor, but yeah.
I'll take it.
All those
This
certifications
is
have to fit somewhere.
oh, okay, okay, all
It's in
right.
my knees. They're swelling up, guys.
So, so
So maybe a segue, if I can do that. Victor,
please.
what's the most challenging and most memorable certification that you earned?
They all are challenging until I pass them and they become memorable.
Okay.
That's a cop out. I'm just saying. Call one of the groups out. Come on. Say they got to do better. um, all right. And I can't imagine what your renewals look like on your search because that would drive me nuts. Like trying to keep up. I'm like 49 of them I would let expire. Be like I'm never going back to them again. Like no. Um, so all right. So and by the way, um, as you two were talking, I was actually trying to fit into my head, right? Landing out here at the beginning of COVID, trying to, get networked and then actually making it to the real world event, right? And the reason why I came out here was pretty much because I wasn't making the time to give back, with the roles that I had in the East Coast and that and the other. So the why and the how for me are pretty straightforward. You just heard it. Not gonna elaborate on it. But being able to find a community that shares in the give back, right? Being able to say, I'm not here for anything other than seeing who I can help, who I can make a connection. And I think Victor and when you probably said it or alluded to it is learn from my experiences, right? Like you could not hook me in anymore, me personally, anymore into any org when you say learn from my experiences, because that's my whole freaking mantra, right? I don't want it to take 30 years for somebody else to learn what it took me 30 years to learn. So as we're going through 21 years, 50 certs, this, that, and the other, what is it that you're seeing now that you've built the brand, people know you, right? Which is a key thing that I from an executive leadership standpoint, I don't give a shit how many people you know. It's who knows you, right? For your values, for everything else. So now you've gone through this journey. It could have been a year, it could have been 5, it could have been 20 to get to where you are now. What's it take to make the time to motivate people to get into any level of an org to say, because again, I always highly recommend it. Become a member. If you like the group, volunteer, then level up, then level up, then level up. At some point, you're going to be, featured, in a graphic that had to be resized because you're a moderator and your head's so big, and that you've got another leader who's a sensei at being able to pull people together in a beautiful, soft spoken sense. What does it take? What does it take to get to being purposeful about the time you put in?
Can I go first, Edwin?
Yeah, absolutely.
My simple advice is once you get there, don't get cocky. Don't feel that.
Whoa, 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 whoa! How do you? Nah, sorry, that's
Once again, don't get cocky. Once you get there, you have to continue reminding yourself why you started the mission, why you got into this serving, why you're helping each other. That's the first thing. And second is, if you are a great leader, you'll actually help others to get there where you are, because that's where the, again, sensei moment, where you're not actually just looking out for you, you're actually making leaders that'll make you a great leader. Great leaders make good leaders. My point is that the motivation will be the reminder of what actually yielded by serving in the communities. Um, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, someone asked me that, hey, you spend so much time, you drive around, you actually give time out of your personal life. What does that actually bring you? You cannot get paid because that'll be illegal. You are pretty much at the mercy of the resources you have, which is pretty limited. And third, again, you will get blamed for something if it doesn't go right. So what's there to win? Why are you doing it? Why would you serve on a nonprofit community or community around you? This is where you have all the obligations with no perks. Why? And the answer is pretty simple. Money can't buy experience. when you serve on communities, when in communities, you have different roles. You get to see different things. You get to experience different things. You can't buy that. Most of the jobs we always talk about where they need experience. You need to have 3 to 5 years experience of blah, even an entry level job or whatever. We always talk about that. Where do you go get the experience? Internships, volunteer, that's how. But the diversity of experience you get, imagine that when you run these sort of non-profit communities, you actually are the CEO, but you don't get to take any money. So think a startup. So you get to run your own startup in a way. You get to make people where they are and train them and listen to them. So that's another art or skill you will actually learn when you volunteer. You need to start actually listening, active listening. Those are things that money can't buy. You just can't go pick it up from Amazon or Whole Foods. That's the thing. That's what brings you to the point where why would you give the time? Because money can't buy it.
That's very true. You're spot on, Victor. For me, also, I think the experience unknowingly benefited me at my day job. Basically, going through the two organizations, managing a tight schedule for conferences, making sure that the resources are available, and even now at OWASP, making sure that the speaker is there, we have food to feed people, and the venue is there, and all that other logistics that you need to manage, dealing with people, how to ask them nicely for stuff because you're not getting paid, and most of them are not getting paid. So you have to be extra cognizant of that. So that really helps you getting the experience that, as Victor said, that would help you immensely at your work. So I'll give you an example. Because I um, overcame my fear standing in front of people and talking to them in conferences and monthly meetings at work, an opportunity that they said, well, you need to, we were looking for somebody to host this weekly call that has upwards of 100 people attending. So is anybody willing to do that? And I took a chance and I said, yes, I'll do it. And I've been doing that for the past 10 years. And it's just because I had the confidence and I had done that before. And I, like Victor said, I couldn't really go to a school to do that and gain that experience. So it benefited me directly at my work. So,
I don't
and
know.
there's this sense of, I don't know what it is about volunteering, and maybe not everybody's feeling that, but it's so satisfactory to help others, to be able to be that catalyst that points the way to somebody else and say, "Hey, I think you will be successful in this direction. Go look in that direction." And that has been really most uh, fulfilling feeling for me over the years attending these calls.
So Edmund is nice, right? So he got into the business to help others. I'll say I got into the business for selfish reasons. Personal branding, I needed it. Experience, I needed it. Network, I needed it. Now, throughout the time, I understood what the satisfaction it brings of helping others. Yes, but I got into this for selfish reasons, and that's okay to accept it. That's pretty much where you need to start. What's in it for you? If you are going to the events, your selfish reasons. If you're volunteering, your selfish reasons. You are serving as a leader, your selfish reasons. You will get the satisfaction, like Edmund said. And again, he is a better person than me, so he got into for helping others. I got into this business for my selfish reasons. But now I'm here. I see the value. I
Woo.
see the network. I see the purpose, and that's what we are continuing here.
All right. All right. I'm just going to jump in on this one immediately because I'm selfish. Right.
Go
So,
for it.
uh, Edmund, you talked about being a go-giver, right? Putting it out there in the universe, whatever. I'm a huge proponent of whatever gets put out comes back. Number
Hmm.
one. Number two, Victor, is survival mode, right? That's how we were. That's how we were created, right? We're always in survival mode, right? But as I tell a lot of people, we start off learning a skill, right? A trait, a degree, or something. That's all we know. We just know the book version of that. Then we put it into practice. Right. And then at some point in your career, you start to say, I'm pretty damn good at this. I can manage the teams. I can educate other people, which is the third layer. Right. So you've got the skill sets all down. Now you're able to say, shit, I can actually teach this to somebody. Let me work on a team. Let me become a manager. Let me give back to communities. And the thing that I found with the definition of mastery and the definition of everything else is you can't really master something until you've tried to teach that thing that you know to multiple types of people across multiple industries. Because you've got in your brain, it's really clear. I've got 50 certs. I went through this. But you have to find 15 different ways to explain the same thing to 15 different people because their absorption, their rate, they don't understand the way you understand. So you have to find the smooth mastery or the brute mastery or the whatever mastery for each person to say this is how you can learn it. Let me walk you through it. Go talk to this person, right? And then you have to figure out how you can master that. That's why I always make fun of folks who say those who can do, those who can't teach. I'm like, no, 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 no. The folks who teach are the ones who are the senseis, who are basically, floating through saying, by the way, I can shuffle this and I can, by the way, here's the end result. I can do this for you. I can help you do this. So as we become part of that in the Go Giver, we know things are going to come back to us. Number one. Number two, we don't expect it. We don't want it. But yes, I need to build up my brand. I need to let the world know who the hell I am. Guess what? I'm going to do whatever I want the way I want authentically, and I'm going to give back. Right. So if I'm known as the guy who makes a connection, perfect, love it. Right. If nothing ever comes of that, I don't care because to
Yeah.
me, I'm gonna go keep riffing on this, folks. Sorry, it's the butterfly effect, right? It's the ripple effect, right? And I say this to folks, they're like, Mel, and I've posted this in the past. Mel, why do you volunteer so much to different orgs? I'm like, because guess what? My goal every day is, did I help one person? Did I help one person with anything? If I helped a group, that's even better, obviously. But did I help one person? And I don't always sit back and register my wins on helping people, but I register my wins for the day in general. Of did I provide value? Did I accomplish some of the things that I want? But if I can help one person a day, this recording, if it can help one person today and one person tomorrow, then I know it's going to go into it's going to get memorialized into our legacy. And that is why we do what we do after you've come to the realization, I've got the branding, I've got the connections, I picked up a new skill, I picked up the confidence to do something new, and now it's benefiting me at the workplace. That, I was going to curse, huge. So damn you too.
It is huge. It is huge. I'll add one thing, and Mel, everything you said is absolutely right. It's the part, again, I started this conversation or asked everybody that what are you doing differently? What are you doing extra? Everybody's doing the bare minimum. They wake up, they go to the job, punch the clock, come back. Everybody's doing that, at least in that vein where I'm referring. What are you doing extra? How are you helping your career? How are you looking at what's coming next? And it's always that same challenge, right? When you go to these events, either people are looking for a job, looking for skill, looking for network. And they always say, I've been doing this for 10 years and I realize it. And I'm like, yes. But don't you think it's the late part where you could have done it while you were doing the job? Why did you have to actually leave the job or exit the job or looking for a job? Now you're here. They're like, now I have time. You could have made the time. So the part where you are known for your skills, for your branding, is far more important. And employers don't hold you hostage at that point. If you are running your own company, your clients, they don't hold you hostage because you have a brand, you have an identity, you have a network. And I think that's far more important than just going to, and you can make $1 million. I won't take the job if that excludes me going to the events, that excludes me serving, that excludes me going on the leadership, because my personal branding is far more important to me than just making the money, because I know that money can just go away because they're holding me hostage. I don't want to be hostage to the employers or my clients or anyone. I want to have my personal brand so that people know where I stand, people know what I'm capable of, or employers know what I'm capable of, what my network is. I think that's far more important. And that's why we encourage people to come in, join the events, join the volunteer team, join the leadership, because you build that network, you build your experience, you build your identity, and that's what we need. And in this line of business where we are, IT security, we have a lot of introverts, including myself. Introverts building personal brand, it's out of comfort zone. Not gonna lie. First time I was told to speak in public, to Edmund's experience and what he said, it was not comfortable. I didn't know what to say. I'm fumbling. I couldn't riff like this. No, there's no way. Everything has to be written down. I have to practice like 30 times, but that's okay. That's okay. Because now I have a personal brand that I am proud of, and I'm going to continue this. I'm not going to stop here. I won't stop here. I will continue building my personal brand.
Yeah, adding to what Victor so eloquently said, one thing that I realized early on is you're investing the time for you. You're not getting paid for it, but it's the time that you invest to make yourself known to the others, make your skill sets known to the others, make new friends and new. You would be surprised when you first think about it that, oh, I don't have time. I'm working full time and then I have family and personal obligations. But then once you carve out a small amount of time for doing a small task as a volunteer in one of these organizations, you will notice within a month or a couple of months that that time that you invested there, which went towards your brand, would have been wasted doing something that's non-value added for you. So be cognizant of that. Time is always there. You're constantly, personally myself, still constantly waste it, but be aware that once you invest that time in a volunteer position in any organization, not just cybersecurity, you're investing it for you. So it comes back to your own pocket. So be cognizant of that. There's no such thing that I don't have time. Like Mel always says, no excuses.
Yeah.
There goes the $20 that now Mel has to pay.
Okay, just Venmo me.
I'm glad that it cleared. It already cleared. Yep. I love this. I love this. Being purposeful about your time, owning your brand all day long. No bleep excuses. Oh my God. So damn you. I'm getting chills. This is why I knew I had to have you two on here. And anybody who missed this, the live version is screw you. Catch it on replay. So we're all taxed. We're all overburdened. Our teams are overburdened. We're, some point of burnout, this, that, the other. How do you balance this, right? How do you balance we're all three of us are going to be at Black Hat next week, and you know what's going to happen by Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Our inboxes are going to be blowing up. We're going to have to be called into some incident or whatever. Maybe why I've decided not to stay in the field and to try to help the teams and the executives through this kind of shit. We can talk about that one later. But what are you, when you're saying I want to be purposeful about my time, I'm going to Black Hat because yes, it'll benefit my company, but it'll also benefit me. How do you manage the recovery? How do you balance out forget about just being a member of the org, you're running the org, and now you've got to actually go and step up to do these type of events to, really learn, network, and pull in that piece. Walk me through the logic of what you're doing.
I can go first. Hopefully, this would make sense. But this function, like in OWASP, is not just run by me. So we are a team of board members that invest their time, and each one picks a function or helps out wherever the help is needed. And something needs to get done, they pick up and run with it. But as far as being purposeful about my time, I have become to believe that there's no such thing as multitasking. So during the day, when I'm away at conferences or I do volunteer work, I also schedule my time that I need to catch up with emails, and I devote like 30 minutes focus time only doing that, not looking at anything else, not processing anything else. And so that way you automatically, I think, become efficient. It's really difficult to do because you're getting pulled in several different ways all the time. But unless you focus and get one thing done at a time, it will drag you on. It would make you miserable. Um, it would seem insurmountable what you want to do. So be cognizant of that. That's my approach.
I agree 100% with Ed, although I have a completely different approach. For me, when I am going to be out of pocket, my team knows that. And I tell them, expect nothing from me. You're going to have to figure it out. I prepare them before, I prepare them ahead of the time. I plan that ahead of the time. When I am out of pocket, it's their responsibility. They know the hierarchy, they know chain of command, they know the level where they need to go and ask questions and get answers. And honestly, if they don't know it, they figure it out as a team. But I'm out of pocket. I'm sorry. That's it. Now, look, I have a bad habit and people know it. I just can't go offline. You know, people call it off the grid. I can't. I took 2 week PTOs and yet I was just online as well. I check my comms, Slack, LinkedIn, text messages, emails all the time. That's just how I'm wired now. I can't stop it. It's a sickness, by the way, guys. My wife calls it. She hid my phone for 24 hours and I didn't know what to do with my life. I had no idea what to do with my life. I literally was just bumping into walls in my house. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. Because usually if I'm sitting idle, I'm checking my comms. So for work, for critical things, I have a plan and I tell them, don't expect anything from me. I'm going to be out of pocket and you're going to have to figure it out on your own. At that point, I'm comfortable that if I don't get to the email on time, if I don't check it, if I'm having a good conversation with Mel at Black Hat, I'm not responsible. I'm not obligated to check my emails or texts because I prepared ahead of the time. That's just my security operations mindset that incident preparation is far more important than incident response. So
I got to jump in on that one. And I love both styles, right? And I use both styles. Number one, I do the time boxing, right? I live by that, right? Yes, there's certain times when we're away that we know because it's lingering in our head, like, crap, I got to follow up on this. So let me make time
yeah.
to do that and only focus on that. And but two, Victor, like you dropped it like a hot fucking like you dropped it right in there, right? So um if we are purposeful about our time, then we have to prepare for that. As leaders, we're all leaders. I don't care if anybody says, well, I don't manage teams, you're a leader, right? Because if you have 4 years of experience in the industry, you have 4 more years of experience than somebody else, so you're a leader. That's one. Two, how do you make sure that when you're doing these things, that you can safely go out there, right? One prime example, I had a role at one point where I was exiting the company and they said, hey, man, we got to create a transition plan. I'm like, got it. You know how long it took me to coordinate with the people who were in-house for the transition plan? Across 3 days, 2 hours total. Because everything was documented. Everybody had a backup. Everybody knew their job. Everybody knew what I mean, 2 hours after over almost 3 years of running a security and an IT program. 2 hours. I'm not kidding you. And I calculated. I was like, shit, we were only on 3 calls, 1 hour and 2 half-hour ones. And, and maybe like a text message or two to, just verify something, right? That's the kind of mindset you need to go in, especially as you're developing in your career. We talked about, entry level, kind of changing your career, or if you're mid-level in cybersecurity, and then at the leadership role is, what is it that you're doing to create that separation between being a practitioner, getting your 50 certs, being hands-on, forensics, you're scrubbing, and what is it you need to do, kind of the stuff that I do now with practitioner leaders, to say, that's good that I love to do that, but should I be doing that, right? Should I be so deep in the weeds that I have to be in the incident management calls, Or do I need to level up my team because they need leadership skills and they need to be able to be self-serving, especially at 2, 3, 4 in the morning on a weekend, blah, blah, blah. Yes, pull me in, but don't expect me to be
Yeah.
the one to do these things. Have that piece. I love this. And it's really critical for everybody to understand. And this ties back into not only the purposeful time, but the selfish component, right? The only way you're going to be able to survive in cybersecurity, in IT, or in any of these industries that are high impact, that are first responder, that have the potential of leveraging. We just had this conversation with Dr. Tammy earlier this week, the potential of leveraging the drawbacks of a PTSD type of scenario is you have to be able to separate these things while still being accountable for them. Oh
Mm.
man,
Yeah.
you two are just going to drive me nuts.
I'll add one thing,
You
Mel,
know,
up there. It's that
Yeah.
fear. I know early age leaders, I should say, where you're newbie at being a leader, manager, the fear that the people who are reporting to you is going to take your job, that fear. I think I had that as well, not gonna lie. So I'm always like trying to learn from like what they're doing so I can be in the trenches with them, show them I'm the best, and just make sure that they know I'm the manager, I'm the leader. Made those mistakes as well in my life. But I think when you get to a certain point where you understand that your job is to actually prepare them so that they can function without you, I think that's a great leader.
Yeah.
Second, if you are in the trenches with them, then who the heck is doing your job? How are you scaling? So if you want to do their job, then why are you hiring them? So your job as a leader, and my previous manager used to say that, again, confidence and something that comes with some experience, where he said, your job is to put me out of my job so I can do something else. I can go bigger and better what I need to do. And that's a
Yeah.
mindset. I think it takes time. You don't it doesn't click overnight. But once it does, you become a leader that who understand the leadership, that you're not the micromanager or the boss mentality, if you will. You all make mistakes. I'm not gonna lie. I have made mistakes as well. But the part where you learn from them and you mature and evolve, that's a part I think we always ask from our peers. So instead of always going in the trenches and trying to prove that you are the boss and you know it better, move away from them. Enable them, clear the roadblocks for them, tell them that, hey, you need to function together. I'm here to support you. I'm your safety net. I'm your shield. But I'm not here to do your job. I'm sorry. You are here to do your job. So that's well,
Preach. Preach.
Absolutely.
He's on the
Yeah.
mount. He's on the sermon. Yes.
Yeah, I can't really top that really, but yeah, back to what you, Victor, said, and also Mel. Um, Documenting has been one of my biggest goals or tasks that I do. Every time I take on a project or a work job, or even the volunteer work that I do, everything I do, when I get to a point that I can execute the whole thing from A to Z, I always document that. Number one is that by taking on so many things to do, especially in the volunteer field, that there's gazillions of things that you need to do every time, every day. You keep forgetting how to do them, and going back to being uh, efficient with your time. Unless you document that, the next time you want to do it, it's already too far away from the previous time, and then you have to rethink it. Okay, how did I do this? And you need to remember. So documentation has been my one of my biggest, I would say, pet peeves. That I always document what I do, and then that helps the others pick that tasks from you. So have the mindset, document what you're doing, and then pass that on to the next person, and always work yourself out of your job. Have that mentality. So
I like it. I'll share my personal story. I was not the document guy at all, but people always forced me lead by example. You're the manager. You need to lead by example. So once I retaliated and I said, why can't I pick an example from someone else? Why can't I make an example out of them so that I follow them? I can lead by example, but that example can come from my peers, my subordinates as well. So a gentleman who worked for me created documentation. I picked that habit. I mean, what you said, I followed that. And now it's the same thing that when I am doing something critical, there's a task. Technology is all around you. You can use that to document, you can
Hmm.
write, and you can remind yourself. I am old school. I have notebooks around me all the time and I write on them. But I am picking up that habit as well now where I need to document to remind myself, A, I'm old now. And B, if I need to go away, at least somewhere it's written what I was working on, what someone has to pick up.
I love this. And
You love the
I'm gonna
part where I said I'm old now, right, Mel? You actually gonna harp on that one.
it's documented, it's memorialized. I'm going to submit the transcripts into the archives. Yep, get over it, brother. You're old. Okay. So, so two things that I love about that, Edmund, is yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I hate documenting, but I know the importance of it. Right. That's one. Two, I just said this, and Irvin quoted me. It's like if it's not documented, it never happened. Right. And then three, I use this as part of what I mentor people on and coach people on is if you don't know why you're doing something and you're not documenting why you're doing something and you don't know the core value, the quantifiable value of your work, and you've documented it as you're doing it, then guess what? Your mid-year and your annual review, you're going to have to backtrack and figure it out. So document the living shit out of it. Number one, why are we doing things, right? Oh, we're part of the project that is going to bring in $200 million, right? We're not running that project, but we're contributing to that. So our efforts are now have a quantifiable. Let me document that. Did we hit it on time? What was the scope, scale, size, right? Then when we're talking about incident management and everything else, we run into this all the time. Oh, so and so was a subject matter expert on this. We need to call them back in because we don't know how to jury rig this 17 script BS macro thing that they ended up doing. Well, guess what? Maybe it's a better way to do that, but for now, let's document it as we're going through.
Hmm.
All of these things, and I mean, 40, 50, 60 different tools or, 10 tools or whatever, or size organization you're in. If you don't have the documentation and, heaven forbid, I get hit by a bus and I'm the only one who knows it, right? Guess what? You better pray there isn't an incident during that time of my recovery because I'm going to recover, right? But that's the importance of putting yourself at a point where you're not in survival mode, right? Victor, you were saying that, right? You're like, only I can do it, or I'm the only one. I'm blah blah blah. I don't want to lose my job, right? Get out of that mindset, because then if you document it, to your point, Edmund, and you're showcasing and you're teaching someone else how to do this, you're starting to level up. You're starting to become the leader, and I say this all the time: become the leader that you've never had or that you've always wanted to mirror. And then that's all that matters, right? So the command and control, the micromanaging, all these other things, if that's what you hate, don't be that, but figure out what the opposite of what you don't want and becomes what you do want. That's what you become. I love this, you two. And Edmund, you thought we weren't going to fill an hour. Shit. 6 minutes left.
I'll add
So
one thing to that micromanagement part. Every new manager, you're gonna fall for that trap. I'm gonna say it right now because it's not something you learn by going through an online training or reading a book. It's by experience. Yes, you can learn from others' experiences. You can have a great coach like Mel walk you through it, but you're still gonna make mistakes. You're still gonna fall for those traps of micromanagement and those command and control. One thing you can do along the lines when you're doing it, just write it down. Every decision you're making and why you're making it, because you're gonna have to actually reflect back in 6 months, 12 months, when your team is gonna tell you that, boss, it's not working out for me. You're gonna have to question yourself, not them. Their skills haven't changed. You are the new manager. Their appetite haven't changed. You are the new manager. You're gonna have to reflect back. So if your tendency is going and every morning waking up and asking everybody that, hey, what are you doing today at 11 a.m. and then 11:30 and at 12 p.m.? Yeah, write it down. Why are you doing it? What's the value outcome of it? Would it be better to actually empower them and you go build network? You go build personal brand. You go build the business. Become a leader. And yes, it's a hard thing. It's going to come as part of experience, but write it down. Why you're doing the decision, what you're doing today, you're going to have to come back and reflect back.
Yeah, I'll give an example in the nonprofit, the OWASP space. because the team is able to function without me, and they know all the things that are required to run the monthly meetings for OWASP Los Angeles. We were able to expand our reach, and now we're attending a lot of conferences. That's an additional work that needs to be done, preparing and contacting conferences, getting a table, and all the logistics that goes with it. But because um, the things that we're doing is already documented. Everybody knows how to do them, and there's always a few hands that can pick up and continue where I leave it off. Then we can expand into new areas, go create more workshops for our community, go to conferences and spread the word about OWASP Los Angeles as this is what OWASP is doing, etc. So documentation is, like Mel said, is not fun most of the time. It's a extra work that you need to do, but it's as one of those things that is really has a high payoff. So I highly recommend it, although it's not a pleasant thing to do. So
I love this. I love this. We have literally less than 2 minutes or about 2 minutes left. Edmund, where can people find you? Where are you going to be next week? Talk to us about the next set of events for
yeah,
OWASP.
yeah, I'm going to be at Black Hat next week and DEF CON the following few days. But you can find me on OWASP Los Angeles website or on Meetup, and I'm always saying something hopefully useful on LinkedIn. So glad to connect with you. Just reach out and be happy to uh, help out any way I can.
All right. Well, Victor, you being the oddball tall guy who, everybody might recognize, where are you going to be at? Talk to us about CSA and next set of events and stuff.
Yeah, so next week, Black Hat, Tuesday to Thursday, I'll be there. You can shoot me a text message or on direct message on LinkedIn, and happy to meet you at the CSA booth. I do want to add one thing as we wrap up. This kind of walk away present for all of you. I developed this method because this question comes out every time: which community to join, which cert to take, and where do I go from here? So over the years, I have mentored few people, and every time they'll ask me the same question, like, man, I should have been millionaire by now because I should put penny every time someone asks me this question. I developed this method, pretty straightforward. Take a piece of paper, split it into half. Left side, you're going to write down your every skill you have, not just technical, non-technical as well. You're good with people, you're good with negotiation, you're good with writing, you're good with whatever, not just technical, not just coding or pen testing or hacking or not just technical. All of your skills, what you can sell today, what you can put on a menu and say, hey, this is what I offer today. That is who you are today. On the right side, you're going to put what do you feel like becoming, what do you actually aspire to actually go on and actually get a job or start a business, what do you want to be in future. That could be near future or long term, doesn't matter, but you write it down where you want to go. The gap is what you're going to actually come up with, what you need to spend time and money today. That difference between who you are today and where you want to be is the gap where you want to invest your time and money. I call it Monga method. Patent pending. Mel, don't get smart and cute with me. This is the M2, we call it Monga method. And this has worked wonders for people because they just don't know. They always feel like they need to do something more, but maybe what you have is good enough to get started. You just
Yep.
don't know how to sell it. You just haven't written it down. So this is my walkaway present for everyone who's listening today and who will listen to in future. Write it down what you have today: technical, non-technical, soft, hard skills, whatever you can sell, people can use it. A
Yeah,
unique skill to you, who you are, and write down all of it. And
that is
right side
very,
is
very true.
where you want to be. So the
Yeah,
gap is where you want to invest your time and money. Community is going to be one of those because that's where you're going to network. So that's my
absolutely.
walk
Then
away.
somebody help you to write down all the skill sets that you think you don't have, but actually you do. So not
Absolutely.
quantifiable ones. Absolutely true.
I love this. I love this. By the way, yeah, sorry, the gap in the game has already been written, manga. right?
I'm
So
calling it M2. I know it's written.
so you need to you it's already been written. I've read it's actually the right concept, right? Where are you to where you want to be? Not where
Yeah.
are you with comparison to somebody else,
Yes.
right? It's where do you want to be? What do you want, right? So moving from what you need to do to what you want to do.
Yeah.
I preach that all day long, right? I love this. Thank you both for giving me the opportunity to sit here with you
Thank
two.
you.
Thank
I
you.
will say I will also be at Black Hat. I will be on a panel at B-Sides. I will be at part of DEF CON. I'm there for the whole week. I will also I will also highlight the fact that yes, I have new outfits, and yes, I'm going to be partying hard. Um, so if anybody wants to join me, my calendar is on my website. I'm doing the most anti-security thing on the planet. Is you get to see exactly where I am most of the time at Black Hat and these other events. From a leadership standpoint, I appreciate both of you for what you do. You are an inspiration to the rest of the community here, nationally and internationally. I don't think anybody's ever going to get to 50, certifications. And Edmund continuing to build out the growth of OWASP is just absolutely incredible. I'm ecstatic that I can be a little part of that. Obviously, we've got folks like Jackie O and Tom Tabby and everybody else who's really kind of pulling in more and more across all of the different pieces. The welcome that I've had, by the way, July 27th was the 4-year anniversary that I landed out here. So the welcome that I've gotten to the SoCal and the California community has been a blessing and a half. So thank you. Stay awesome. Please, let's continue to do what we do. And I'll continue to refine my photoshopping skills every time I have to get bigger into
Thank you.
a piece.
This
So
was
thank
great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Mel. Thank you.
All right. So as we say goodbye, just know, let's continue. We'll see you. Just also as a side note, all next week, I'm going to be doing live streaming either at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock at wherever I land. I'm going to pull in Shannon Noonan and a bunch of other folks on a regular basis to make sure we're doing great interviews on elite leadership, what you're finding at Black Hat and the other events. So if I come to you with a camera, just be ready. All right. Thank you all
Right on.
and
All right.
stay blessed.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a
Cheers.
good weekend.